the one thing I took just from being around it all last year that I really appreciated and I look forward to is seeing guys, taking part in an all-star game for the first time, a lot of them. Just seeing the faces and seeing how excited they are, and just, like I said, being able to coach some guys that you compete against all year, I think is going to be really fun.
Welcome to episode 234 of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. I'm Joe McFarland. It's been another busy week in our province's baseball circle, so let's get right to it. The MLB draft was held Sunday through Tuesday with 20 rounds of players being chosen. A total of 9 Canadians were taken, and one in particular stands out here as Matt Wilkinson was taken in the 10th round, 308th overall by the Cleveland Guardians. The Dogs Academy and Okotoks Dogs standout turned heads with his performance with Chatham in the Cape Cod League, and many believed he was on the path to being selected. He'll be joining the Guardians, who have another well-known Alberta southpaw in the system, that of course being Eric Sabrowski. Another player with ties to our province is Luis Martinez Gomez, who was also taken in the 10th round, 296th overall by the Chicago Cubs. The right-hander was a WCBL All-Star last season as a member of the Fort McMurray Giants. Congrats to both Tugboat and Luis, as well as all players taken in this year's MLB draft. We'll let you know if we get word of any other young athletes who sign free agent contracts, as they normally do in the days and weeks ahead. And a big congratulations to those named to Team Alberta for the Baseball Canada Cup, which is slated for August 9th through 13th in Regina. Several familiar names will be representing our province again, including Cam Bergstrom, Dominic Morgan, Luke Wheatley, Matt Murray, Michael Yusufchuk, and Simon Baker. We look forward to keeping you updated on how the team does when that tournament gets going. Now on to this week's guests, and it's all about the WCBL All-Star Game, which goes Saturday in Okotoks. The Derby will start at 5 p.m. with the game itself set for 7:05. Earlier this week, we found out who will represent the West and East divisions, and you can head to our website to read more about the rosters. Later on, we'll hear from Coaldale's Torrin Vaselenak and Calgary's Trent Lawson about getting the call. But what's it like being a coach heading into the weekend festivities? We caught up with Pote of the Okotoks Dogs.
Coach, thanks so much for joining us here on the podcast.
Oh, anytime. Thanks for having me.
You've been named head coach of the West Division All-Star team. What does that recognition mean to you?
That part of an organization that, won the title the year before. I got big shoes to fill in for Mitch, so it's welcomed and honored, and really excited to coach guys that obviously that I coached during the season, but that we compete against all year. So being a part of it last year as a fan was really cool, but really excited to be a part of it in the dugout this year.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned you were there as a fan last year. What do you remember about the experience from that vantage point? What kinds of things do you want to kind of bring in now that you're going to be the coach this time around?
Well, obviously the game was unreal. The competition, it was walk off to win it. And I think that was, just a perfect ending to a perfect night. As far as, what to do different, hopefully there's more home runs in the home run derby. The wind wasn't favorable to right-handed hitters last year. So, I just think, if it could go any better, that, there'd be tons of home runs. Obviously the crowd is going to be, it's going to be a packed house. But I think the one thing I took from being around it all last year that I really appreciated and I look forward to is seeing guys, taking part in an all-star game for the first time, a lot of them. Just seeing their faces and seeing how excited they are, and like I said, being able to coach some guys that you compete against all year, I think is going to be really fun.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I took away from last year was how the coaches, Mitch included, really tried to give the players that opportunity to, I'll call it soak it in. But is that something that you're hoping to instill in them this year as well as, hey, this isn't your every year opportunity. Like, this is something to kind of take that step back and really soak in that atmosphere?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you get caught up in the moment sometimes, and you don't appreciate those things. So that's one of the things that we talked with our team leading up to this season is, appreciate where you're playing, appreciate every moment, appreciate your teammates, and just be in the moment, step off the mound, take it all in. If it's your first time pitching in front of a big crowd, I think that's something that as players we take for granted because we want to do so well and we forget to enjoy the moment. And that's one thing that I think, that looking forward to the event and meeting the players and stuff, I think that's one thing that we'll address is, don't take a minute to soak it all in when you get out there, when you get your opportunity to get in the game. Because everybody's going to get their chance and, something that you'll remember for the rest of your life because it might be the only one, right? And that's something that when you look back on your career, you want to really appreciate and being able to take that, just second to look around and be like, wow, this is really, really cool. Something that I don't want them to miss out on.
Albeit there is that element of gameplay, and you want to make sure that there's a W at the end of the day as well. As that coach, do you have an approach in mind on how you want to handle the game and handle the players involved?
A little bit. I've been asking questions how to handle it, but I thought Mitch did a great job last year. Obviously, naming the starting lineup is probably going to be the toughest thing because respecting that, guys that have had really good years, and then it's at our stadium, so seeing who's going to be in there in the starting lineup is probably the most nerve-wracking thing I think that as a head coach in an all-star game that you got to be careful with. So that's something that probably the most nerve-wracking for me is the starting lineup, and then just obviously making sure everybody's in the game and gets to a chance to get out there and play.
You're a pitcher, so you know the value of this, whether it's pitch counts you got to be leery of, especially because these guys got to go back to their hometown squads after the weekend's done. But not just that, but you look at last year and extra innings and everybody's kind of looking over their shoulder going, we weren't really plotting on this. So how do you expect to handle the pitching duties this year to make sure that you might have an extra arm or two ready to go just in case you need them in the 10th or 11th innings?
Just obviously communicating with other coaches and players of when they pitch last, are they available? And then just, maybe one, who's maybe a two-way guy that's pitched at college, maybe hasn't pitched a bunch this year. I think that'll be fun if it gets to that. Hopefully, we're smart enough to be able to plan it out just in case who can go 2 innings if needed. Depending on when they last pitched. There's a lot of pretty cool scenarios that you look at, and if it's an extra inning affair like it was or last year, that would be really cool, and that's hopefully that we don't mess it up.
It's certainly a fun atmosphere to be a part of. I'm curious though, as a player, were you ever an all-star?
I was all-star in AA, I think twice in Texas League, both times. One when I was really young, and one when I was a little bit older in the same league. So, I had a chance to pitch in both of them, and it was the first one I was just I want to go out there and dominate, and then the second one I kind of took a step back and was like just appreciated how cool it was and how rare it was and special to be a part of it, and just get to know some teammates that you play. That are teammates for a day, and then just getting to see that side of them. I think that was the really cool part for me is like you compete against him all year, and then you get a holy cow, he's a good dude, So that's the stuff that I remember, and just from one All-Star game to the next, just soaking it in, and that's something that I plan on sharing with guys.
Absolutely. The Dogs obviously off to a great first half of the season. Looking back on that first half, what made it so successful in your eyes?
I just think, obviously we have a really talented roster, and very, deep roster in that sense. So I just think we have a lot of veteran guys that have been here, been through the program, been through a couple of championship seasons, and they know what it takes, and they just welcome everybody. And I think that's the biggest thing is our core veteran group have been around and they've accepted everybody that's new here and made them feel at home. And I think when, as baseball players, as athletes, when you can be yourself, and you're not caught up in, trying to impress everybody with every swing, I think that's when you get the best out of your abilities. And I think that's the biggest thing with this group is that they're, they just accepted everyone, and everybody can relax and just be themselves and and let their game play. It's easy. It's been, obviously trying to get everybody some rest and trying to get everybody their at bats and their innings. But it's been great, man. These guys know what it takes, and whatever we've asked of them, they've done. It's been so in that sense, it's been easy. It's been easy just writing the names down, and then they just go out and play. So, but it's been really, really fun, and obviously it's the first part of the season. There's we got to finish strong, but it's been more than I expected. And I appreciate every second that we've had together. So.
Speaking of looking ahead to that second half, in your eyes, is there anything that you got to work on or improve upon, especially as you're getting down to that nitty-gritty? There's playoff spots on the line. Not only that, but also teams have started to see each other once or twice now. It's not like a big surprise to you, and obviously as the reigning champs, you've got the target on your back.
Yeah, I just think, managing guys, not burning them out, and I think that's, the one thing that we do well here is we get our guys off days, and we don't lose anything when we get the guys that might be a little bit ahead of the other guys as far as playing time. When we give the core players the day off, the other guys step up and then just been great. So it makes it hard on me moving forward because it's everybody wants to be in there, but you can only start 9 guys, right? So it's a luxury that I really appreciate having, but it's something that's as moving forward, we just want to manage and make sure everybody's healthy. We're not overworking them, and we're ready to go when it comes to playoffs, and we're not burning them out for their upcoming season for college, right?
Final question for you here, Coach. You've obviously taken the reins as head coach this year with Okotoks, and you mentioned during the right before the season began that you'd be leaning on Mitch, and you'd be leaning on those assistant coaches to make sure that you're continuing that level of excellence. What's it been like over the last few weeks here to be able to tap into those minds and be able to chat with them all about making sure that you're putting the right foot forward?
Oh, I can't even express what it's meant, because Joe, DR, Andy, they've all been through it. Mitch been through it, and I'm constantly picking their brains on what could I have done different here, or what do you think in this situation? And lineup wise, it's it's any one of those guys makes my job so much easier to be able to kind of we had an instant earlier in the season where we just weren't swinging the bats, and Andy said, "Hey, I think we should do this for BP," and we did it. And then then that first game we adjusted our BP rounds. We just went out there, and I think it was like 5 or 6 games in a row where we scored double digits. So it was just being able to have that to lean on is it just makes it so much easier for me.
Really appreciate the time, Coach. Congratulations on the success to this point. Have fun at the All-Star game and continued success the rest of the way.
All right, we'll see you out there.
Now for a couple of conversations from each of the respective dugouts with, of course, an Alberta focus. In the West, Torrin Vaselenak will help represent the Lethbridge Bulls. The 6'2", 180-pound infielder is a Coaldale product and longtime Lethbridge area ball player, including the last 3 seasons with the Bulls. This summer, he's hitting .299 with 7 home runs, 20 RBI, and 10 stolen bases in 30 games, as his team hopes to get back into the form that won him a championship in 2021. Torrin, thanks so much for joining us here on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Chosen as an All-Star for 2023, what does that recognition mean to you?
It's I wasn't picked the past couple of years for it, so after spending a few years in the league, it's a rewarding feeling. Nice to hear. Nice to have that accomplishment under the belt.
I asked you this off air. Were you surprised by that notification? And beyond that is, tell us a little bit about how you found out.
So I found out Mr. Kevin Kavami, the president of the league, came into our locker room after a win, and he announced who all made the All-Star team. So it was cool to have, everyone's reactions, all your teammates' reactions and stuff is nice. I didn't think about it. I was trying not to think about it too much, for the start of the season, is just trying to play good baseball and win games with my team, right? Mm-hmm. But I knew I'd been playing pretty decent, and I'm not really a stat watcher either, so I just kind of was, trying to play the best ball I could. So yeah.
Looking back at last year and now looking ahead to this year, obviously you probably had a little bit of an inkling as to what was to be expected. How excited are you, or what has you excited about going to this year's event?
I've never actually been to one of the Wick Bowl All-Star games, so I'm just excited to see what it's all about, how it's going to be. And Okotoks always gets good crowds, so I'm sure it'll be no different, if not even better, for the All-Star game. So it's always nice to play in front of a bunch of people, because the energy in the stadium is just unreal when there's a few thousand people there.
Mm-hmm. You're off to a great start, obviously, as being named an All-Star. What's been key to your success thus far?
Main key has just been consistency, which is what everyone is always striving for in baseball, right? But I've just been trying to, take the days that are maybe not that great of days, or maybe could be bad days, and just turn them into at least decent days, and then ride the highs as long as you can ride them. So
the team's obviously off. The team is back in the hunt as well this year. What's been key in your eyes in turning things around after kind of a tumultuous 2022?
I think our pitching has played a huge role. Like, we have a lot of arms that are pretty competitive, and we got a fairly solid lineup too. Whether we're always hitting or not, our pitching has usually been able to keep us in the game, which is super nice thing to have. We're just, trying to make everything click all at once, like everybody is, I guess. But when everything clicks, things seem to work out nicely for us.
You're one of those veterans who played on the 2021 championship team. You played on the team last year as well when you missed the playoffs. So two polar opposite experiences in those two seasons. How does that fuel or maybe affect your approach heading into this season? And especially as you were having those conversations with guys you've been in the same locker room with over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I guess guys that have had a taste of both kind of know what it's like from both sides, right? And with that year that we didn't make it last year, we just kind of got unlucky with injuries and the amount of guys that we were able to put on the field all the time. So it just didn't work out well for us that time. But, the year we won it, we were able to make things come together well. And we had lots of guys at every position and lots of pitchers that were able to fill in spots when we needed spots filled in. So this year kind of feels more similar to that. I don't want to jinx anything, obviously, but I think just having the numbers and having the talent there is huge for us.
Is there anything as a veteran that you've been saying to some of the younger guys or the new guys on the roster to get them prepared for the grind that is a real quick and very busy summer?
You kind of have to, it's different for everybody, but it's important to take care of your body and, make sure you're eating the right foods and getting enough sleep. It is summer ball, and lots of these guys are in a different area, so they want to have fun, which is good and fine, but we're still playing baseball, right? So it's just important that everyone takes that seriously, and there's a time and place where everybody wants to go out and have some fun, and we do that for sure, but we also try to take what we're doing here seriously at the same time. So I just kind of try to empathize to those guys that maybe don't understand what the schedule's like, that it is a grind and that it's important that you do take care of that stuff.
You mentioned the fun side of things. You're from Coaldale, so clearly you know the area really, really well. Do you find yourself being the tour guide of sorts as you, not just for the veterans, but even for the young guys to show them what Southern Alberta has to offer?
A little bit for sure. Yeah, I know lots of the guys that come up from the States have never seen mountains like these before, right? So we talk about going out to Waterton or making a trip out to Banff or something lots of the time, and there's lots of guys that are excited to do that stuff. We're just, waiting for the right opportunity to do it. Mm-hmm. So it is a little bit tour guidey, but you're from the area, so guys look to you to see what is there to do and what's the best things to do. So it doesn't bother me at all.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite spot or go-to spot, whether it's off season or if you were to say to the guys, here's one spot you have to check out before you go?
My family had a house in Waterton growing up, so there's always a spot there, I guess, close to home for me. Mm-hmm. But I think if they were going to check out one area, you have to make the trip to Banff, because there's not a lot of places in the world like that, right? So
never a dull moment when you go into the mountains, that's for sure. And Lucky
Exactly.
Duck as well, being from having a spot in Waterton. I'm so jealous right now. So jealous. In terms of looking ahead to the second half of the season here, whether it be personally or obviously from a team perspective, anything that you have in mind that you need to get done or that you need to do to keep the ride rolling?
Personally or as a team, you're saying?
Both.
I guess personally is like second half of the season adjustments, right? So you've kind of played everyone. Everyone might have a game plan to go against you, so you have to make your adjustments just like all the other teams are making their adjustments of how they're going to win. Mm-hmm. And then as a team, it's just super important that we stay on track and stay focused, and that we're still taking care of business, right? It's easy to get into kind of a mid-season lull, but if you can push through that and find a way to win all those close games, that's huge for the program, huge for the guys' emotions and energy.
As far as the fall and upcoming spring have in store?
Not 100% right now. It's a big life change finishing college baseball. So, lots of guys go through it and have to make those adjustments. But I'd like to try to play some indie ball if possible. I might hit up some tryouts and see where that takes me. And if that doesn't work out, then we'll go from there, I guess.
Mm-hmm. A few rapid fire questions here to wrap things up, Torrin. First off, your favorite ballpark food?
Favorite ballpark food is probably French fries. If the French fries are good, you can't go wrong with the French fries.
Do you have toppings in mind when you're having the fries, or is it just seasoning, salt, and that's good to go?
I'm a vinegar guy on the French fries if it's there, but I usually vinegar and ketchup.
Sounds like such a small town hockey rink.
Yeah,
food,
for sure. Yeah.
Your best ballpark that you've ever played in or been a spectator in?
Best ballpark I've ever played in is going to be Minute Maid Stadium in Houston.
Very cool. Talk about that experience. How did that all come to be?
Well, with the University of Arkansas Monticello, they usually do a start of the season kind of trip to Minute Maid, and there's they host the Minute Maid, and I think the new Ranger Stadium now even hosts like a D2 tournament and a D1 tournament. So we start off there for the season. You get to play a few ranked teams, which is good to kind of see where you're at for the season. But in terms of the actual park, it's insane, right? Like, we're playing there in front of nobody, and there's 40,000 open seats, but I can imagine playing in a stadium with 40,000 people there screaming. It'd be awesome, but it's a really cool experience.
Very cool. Your go-to walk-up tune?
Right now it's Love Is Gone by David Guetta and a few other guys. Just one of the songs I heard this season, and lots of people seem to like it, so I'm rocking with it for now. Very
cool. Finally, your favorite baseball memory?
Oh, favorite baseball memory. Probably, I'm kind of stuck between two. I would have to say the championship season with the Bulls here. Mm-hmm. That's a great memory. And also my final year of American Legion, we made an awesome run in the state tournament after losing the first game. So that's always pretty memorable to do that.
Mm-hmm. As a follow-up on that, how cool has it been to be able to see baseball at all the different levels in the Lethbridge area, whether it's, the little league aspect of it, whether it's American Legion, or now at the top of the top?
It's been cool because, I've grown up, watching these guys, or, interested in what they're doing and, what kind of life they're living. And then I've kind of just gone up the ladder as time's gone on, and now I'm one of those guys that I used to be watching, right? Mm-hmm. So baseball's definitely grown in Southern Alberta a lot, and it's been cool to see on the come up.
How different is it to sign an autograph in your hometown when you're the one that was probably asking for them way back when?
Yeah, I can still remember being just a little guy asking for autographs from the Bulls. So it's cool feeling, because when you're a kid and you're watching the Bulls, you're just like, wow, these guys are insane, right? Mm-hmm. Like, they're awesome, and the game looks so fast when you're that young. And I mean, it is fast game still, right? But yeah, it's cool.
Very cool. Final question for you here before we let you go. What does the game of baseball mean to you?
Game of baseball is hard to put a word on what it means to you, right? Because I guess through it's been something I've done my whole life, mm-hmm. right? And like lots of other guys have, but I guess it's gonna be a hard thing to give up when the day comes. So I'm just planning on extending that day for as long as possible. But it's brought me tons of friendships, tons of life lessons from coaches and teammates, and it's almost raised you in another way apart from your parents and family and stuff like that, right? It's mm-hmm. another aspect to how you've been raised, so it means the world.
Fantastic stuff. Well, Torrin, congratulations on being named a WCBL All-Star. Congratulations on all the successes to this point. Continued success going forward. Hoping to see you in the pros in the not-too-distant future. And thanks so much for joining us here on the podcast.
No worries. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
On the other side of the diamond is Calgary's Trent Lawson, who will represent the Weyburn Beavers in the East Division. The 6'2", 175-pound outfielder is one of a handful of Albertans on the Beavers roster. In 30 games this season, the Vancouver Island University product is hitting .297 with a home run, 17 RBI, and 3 stolen bases on a Beaver squad fighting for their playoff lives. He joined our Ian Wilson for a candid conversation last week.
Trent, how does it feel to be an all-star this season?
It definitely feels great to be an all-star. The way it's been, even though it's been a tough season for the team, but it feels great.
How did you find out that you'd be going to the game?
Cam, after Cam held myself and the other all-stars off to the side and just kind of said, "Congratulations, you guys have made the all-star team."
That's great news, and you played in Edmonton before, but I don't believe you were an all-star last year, so this will be the first time going to the event. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
it'd be my first time.
Awesome.
Even though my first year in the WCBL was 2021. I don't think there was an all-star.
Yeah.
I think they made a team.
Yeah, things were a little difficult that season, I recall.
Yeah.
Well, you're having a great year individually. You're leading the club in RBI. I think you're batting right around 300. You coming off a season in the CCBC where you were also, you had a couple good seasons there. How do you view just the season that you're having so far, and what's working well for you?
For me, it's just compete. I feel like I'm competing a lot more than ever. I feel just compete. I think my compete's there. I think my compete's been better than previous years. Talk
a little bit about being on a team. Weyburn obviously is, you're struggling to collect wins, yet you're having a good season individually. Is that difficult, or do you are you trying to? Do you see, I guess, your production and how you're playing as a way of a means of leadership on the club, or how do you view things? Because that can be a tough thing to navigate.
Yeah, it is tough. Nobody wants to lose, but at the same time, it is like summer ball. You still come here to work on things. You definitely definitely don't expect to win every game, win every close game, or like win every game by 10. So you're still definitely working on things. Like I'm still learning, I'm still giving me pointers and like on base running and in the field and hitting. So it's just, it definitely is tough, but you just gotta compete, I guess, a little bit more as a team. I think that's the only thing we're really lacking a little bit. It's just there's definitely some times where we're not all there.
Yeah. How did you end up in Weyburn this season? Did you have a connection with Cam through the CCBC, or what was the connection to Weyburn?
The connection was I played with him in the FMBA with the Wolfpack.
Gotcha.
So that was my connection.
Awesome.
To Cam, and then Cam reached out to me. And I was happy to be for him to reach out for me. I was excited to play for him because I knew that, especially he's a good manager, he's a good coach. He knows a lot. So especially what he's done with the Dinos, or UFC Dinos. So I was excited to be a part of it.
That's great. I know I've been to a few of those FMBA games, and it's senior men's ball. I love that diamond at Glen Hansen Field, and just overlooking Calgary. There's a lot of WCBL content, former guys who played in the league, and I know pitching coach Joe Sargent with the Dogs. He still pitches from time to time. Talk a little bit maybe just about that league and some of the connections there as well.
Yeah, there's still there's a bunch of guys who have played definitely in the well, I guess it would have been the Wimble.
Yeah.
At the time, like Alex Bishop, Brendan Rose.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he would have played. He's a good player. Jordan Wong, a lot of guys who play for the Bulls and for other teams around, kind of made their way to Calgary and been playing in that league.
You kind of, I know it is, it can be seen as beer league or whatever you want to call it, but you also don't want to sleep on it. There's, it gets pretty competitive on that circuit as well.
Yeah, there's definitely some pitchers who are still compete in the WCBL who definitely they're not. And still, it is a very there's still some guys out there that can throw the ball.
And I mentioned earlier, you tell me about how you ended up with the Prospects and why why you ended up playing there as well.
So Nick Salahup, the head coach and manager at BIU, was the assistant coach,
right,
for the Edmonton Prospects, and then Jordan Blundell was also a former head coach for the Vancouver Island Mariners.
Right. And that is, of course, your CCBC club. And how did you think you played that season with the Prospects?
I definitely struck out a lot. I think I averaged 2 Ks a game. It was not the greatest season I've ever had in baseball, but it still was a good season. Still, I guess as a team made it to lost in the WCBL Championship Series to Lethbridge. But yeah, it was still a fun season. Have a lot of memories. It was good.
Is there a lot of you do see a lot of carryover? We were talking about FMBA and some of the mix with the WCBL there, but also with the CCBC, you definitely see guys who play that season and then they come over to the WCBL. Is there any good rivalries that have carried over from one league to the other that you've noticed, or how do you view that competition?
There's definitely a lot of guys in Moose Shaw's got Tristan Seitz, and Ethan Merck. Then Medicine Hat has Zach Robinson. There's definitely a lot of CC players sprinkled around the league. So I just haven't seen a lot, like, from my point of view, there hasn't been a lot of rivalry carry over.
Just some familiar faces then.
Yeah, I know Lethbridge's, like Claire Hout. But I wouldn't really say they're not necessarily rivalries.
So the memory I have of you, WCBL, and it was actually from the first game in Sylvan Lake. I believe you guys were the opponent that night. And what I noticed with you, of course, I recognize the name, but your mustache that season was, like, I think Lanny McDonald would have looked at that thing twice. It was a thing of beauty. So I guess I need an update on your facial hair situation.
I still got the mustache.
Yeah.
Definitely still have the mustache. I started trimming it up a little bit more and making it kind of not as bushy as maybe Lanny McDonald. Sometimes it gets too much.
Yeah.
At times. Yeah.
What was the genesis of the mustache? Because it looked like, it almost looked like one of those old-timey baseball mustaches that could stand the test of any era. Like you could take a picture of you and be like, and make it black and white, and it'd be like, oh yeah, this is Trent Lawson from the 98 long stockings or something like that.
I forget. I think it was when I was in Huntington, Indiana, playing for University of Huntington. We're getting our photos taken, and one of the assistants, I was thinking about shaving, like kind of cleaning it up, and one of the coaches said that you needed something. You just need something. Grow out the hair, grow out the mustache. So that's why I've kind of had it ever since.
Well, it's certainly a distinctive look, and like I said, I found it quite captivating at the time. And that night, I don't remember you striking out a lot. I remember you having a couple hits that night. I think the offense was firing that night. So good intro to the league for sure.
Yeah.
I'd be remiss if I didn't get into your kind of your origin story in baseball. We like to ask a lot of our guests about that. You come from a very well-known baseball family. Jim Lawson was and remains a legendary figure in baseball in Calgary and in Canada. Sadly passed away in 2019. Can you just talk to me a little bit about growing up in that household and just your connection with baseball through your dad, but also through your family and growing up in that family?
So I just remember always going to the field. Yeah, well, I guess when I was like 5, probably till when I was about 12, my dad was still playing, and I just remember always going to the field with him when he was playing in the the FNBA back then. He was playing in the Sunburst and all the senior men's teams. I just remember still always going to the field with him. So that was kind of my introduction to baseball.
Does it? And I don't want to dwell too long on your dad because you're your own person, you're your own man. But does it? In terms of being a part of his legacy, is that? Do you feel a responsibility there, or do you feel any kind of weight in terms of carrying that Lawson name forward, or is it more of a privilege to be associated with it?
I think it's more of a privilege to be associated with Jim. It's definitely, because I know for sure that he wouldn't want to see me, quit baseball. He would want me to see me play for as long as possible, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do.
How about your brother? It's Corey, is it? Is he still playing ball?
Yeah. He's still playing. He's still playing baseball. think he's playing with the Kelowna Falcons.
Oh, okay. Nice.
But I know he's still playing for Okanagan College in the CUC.
So you guys would have played against each other then?
Yes.
Yeah. Any good smack talk on the field, or are you guys fairly quiet that way?
We're fairly quiet.
Yeah.
Fairly quiet that way. I don't think for myself, I don't really kind of get into that stuff all that often. But yeah, sometimes I can hear him when he's on the bench. But it's nothing that he hasn't really said to me before, so I just kind of leave it, put it in the back of my mind.
Yeah, respond with the bat, right? Or the glove.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is he kind of the opposite with you? Is he going to be a little more yappy than you are, or?
I think he is a little bit more yappy, but still, my dad is definitely focused on the team, not on don't chirp, because whatever happens in baseball is probably going to happen to you if you start chirping about it.
That's a good philosophy, and it's interesting with we see Major League Baseball. There's been a real shift in kind of the showmanship, and from Jose Bautista doing the bat flip was this major controversy years ago, and now it's people bat flip all the time. There's seems like teams are a lot more vocal at almost every level. Do you? I mean, how do you look at that? Is that something that bugs you a bit, or are you just kind of everyone's free to do it, express themselves how they want?
No, it doesn't really bug me all that often. There's definitely times to do it and times not to do it. I think that just you kind of have to have a little bit of feel to know when is a good time to bat flip and when it's not. Because if you're up by 5 or 6 and you hit like a 3-run shot and you bat flip, you might see one in the ribs next time. But that's just how I kind of view it.
Yeah. Any I want to move on to some quick hitters and some fun questions with you in a second here, but do you have any goals for the remainder of the WCBL season as things go along here? Is there anything that either individually you want to achieve or you want to see happen with the team to end out the summer?
I think definitely one of the goals that we would like to see is for us in this last half is to finish around 500. I think that's an achievable. I feel like that's an achievable goal for us as a team, is to finish around 500. We've definitely had some games where it looks like we're good, and then just some other times where we don't have the focus or the compete level, and that's when we kind of lose. So I feel like if we really lock down, we could be a 500 team for this last half.
Any personal goals for you?
Not really.
Yep.
Just probably just help the team any way I can to win ball games. So.
And what's next for you after the WCBL season? Are you? I can't remember where you're at in terms of your scholastic career, but are you back to VIU, or are you done after that? I'm done at VIU. I'm trying to play overseas. So right now I have a team in Germany that I'm going to play for in 2024. But then I'm just trying to find a team to play for in Australia. That's where I'm looking to go. Oh, that sounds like some fun adventures. How did you come up with that game plan, or what spawned that interest? Did you just want to do some travel, like mix in some travel with baseball, or what brought that about?
There's some guys that I played with on the Wolfpack in the FNBA that have done some of that stuff. They said it was great. They loved it. So that kind of sparked my interest at trying to see, like, hey, maybe this is a possibility that I could do this.
All right, let's move on to some fun questions. I think I might know the answer to some of these, but you never know. Why don't we start with your favorite Major League Baseball team?
It'd have to be the Braves.
All right. I think I know where we're going with this, but favorite player?
I think Corbin Carroll.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that choice. Yeah, man, he's looked good this season. I thought you were going to go with Mike Soroka. Obviously, there's a bit of a family connection there through the Redbirds.
Yeah.
But how about your favorite ballpark food?
I think a bratwurst.
Oh, good choice. Now, is there onions on that? Is that loaded up? Onions, mustard? What do you got?
Usually some onions and mustard.
Good
not too much, but pretty simple, but not,
Yeah, you gotta watch the heartburn, right?
Yeah.
Pre-game music. Do you get the buds in, and what do you listen to before you take the field?
Oh, it's whatever the team's playing in the locker room. I think right now it's a lot of Zach Bryan.
Okay. Is that country? Sorry, I'm not a big country guy. If that is, but
that's country.
All right. Now, who runs the music in the Weyburn Club house?
Ryan Doffney.
Lots of country then.
Yeah.
That does it for some of the quicker questions, and I just want to thank you for being a guest today. And I just got one final question for you. We ask it of every guest that comes on the podcast. That question is, what does the game of baseball mean to you?
The game of baseball means to me is it's very similar to life as a whole. Sometimes you can play, you can prepare as much as possible, you can work, but you're still gonna fail. It's just and even if you do fail the next day, you still have to go out, compete, try your best to win.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Trent, and continued success this season.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks again to Lou Pote, Torrin, Vaselenak, and Trent Lawson for joining us this week, and thanks to all of you for downloading and listening. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on your podcast app, as you don't want to miss a moment of the action, because we plan to put together 2 episodes for you next week to recap the WCBL All-Star Game, as both Ian and I will be in attendance. If you see us around, make sure to stop and say hi. We might even have some hoodies in tow. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. As always, a tip of the cap to our Platinum supporters for all they do for us and for baseball in Alberta. The Okotoks Dogs and AHP Academy are phenomenal partners in helping us tell the game stories in our province. For more, head to albertadugoutstories.com/supporters. Until next time, thank you for all of your support online, on social, and on air of Alberta Dugout Stories.